NartOutHere, and we're here with episode 2 of CS Out Here. Today's topics will be covering Blast, the finals. We have some coaching questions, and then CS updates regarding the game, some Stewie drama, and then roster changes. With me today, I have Saga, my co-host.
What's up, everyone?
He's the one that helps me puts the show together, so I greatly appreciate him. And then we have Stikle, BNE coach, who recently qualified to the legend stage of the major. Welcome, Stikle. And then Skriv,
hello,
who is a caster, and he also has a YouTube channel that does really good interviews. Welcome to the show, Skriv.
Thank you for having me on.
KayJay, coach of X13, former analyst of Liquid and TSM.
Hello,
How's it
hello.
going? How's it going? And then
It's good, it's
Makzwell, Opper, and IGL of X13.
Former Opper.
Former. Oh, okay, my bad. Former
Yeah.
Opper.
No, yeah.
And then lastly, Smirky, YouTube content creator. You've probably seen him on my YouTube. Welcome, Smirky.
Hey, yeah. Also, it's not said if I don't come on this podcast, I can't come out of the basement.
Shut up.
He
Alright,
did not deny it.
so we're gonna start off with Blast here and the finals with Navi and Vitality. Navi 2ing Vitality. The bans were pretty standard, right? Both Perma, Vertigo, and Ancient. Navi picking Mirage, which is probably Vitality's worst map. And then the second pick was Overpass with Decider, Dust 2. What are you guys' thoughts on this, on the finals here?
Simple really turned up this series. I couldn't watch the Mirage game because I had to do some IRL stuff and sort some stuff out. But on the Overpass game, Simple and Bit were just really on it. I felt like Bit had so many multi-frags as well, which he just got away with. The overall individual performance from these guys were just nuts. And STY, that B site. What did you know the round where you got the 3K? That round.
Yeah. Let's talk about Mirage first.
Okay. I couldn't watch that. I can't really have any input on Mirage.
I was watching Mirage, and they were controlling the whole map, pretty much the whole map, the whole through. Simple's doing amazing. Bit was doing really pretty good. STY, the same with Perfecto. The whole team was just playing good on Mirage. They're I think they're pretty unbeatable on Mirage.
Yeah. It's also
giving
funny.
Them no space, they were taking mid fast. They were doing explodes on A, explodes on B all the time. They were giving them no space, to react. And that's what they bottlenecked them the whole game and gave them no space to think, and play the game out. And that's a Vitality issue, at the moment, because they don't have proper communication. You've seen clips, I guess, some of you, their communication gets really hectic mid-rounds, and that's what I think Navi did against them. Didn't give them time to communicate and set other things.
Yeah, Sonic was even saying when they cut to the Vitality camera, I think Sonic was even saying speak, which it's not really a good sign, but
Yeah, they just seem really slow on mid-round stuff too, just because of communication. Navi was just winning all the aim duels and just faster on reads and stuff. Where Vitality just seemed a bit sluggish.
Was Navi?
Oh, sorry. Go right ahead. Go right.
I forget. Was Navi picking Mirage with Boomwitch? Because I know that Electronic a while ago was calling on Mirage, so it's just very interesting that their Mirage is still super good, almost better than when they had Boomwitch.
I don't think it's too hard to call him Mirage. Is it right?
Well,
or?
It's just at that level. I think it's I don't know. You might be right.
But Bit and Simple, looking at stats here, leading the way with 23 and 21. Dominant T side, what was it? 10-5 half, and then just closing out in 6-3.
Yeah, that second round was literally second round on the T side. I just watching Simple have an AK. The whole team was on pistols, and he just opened up with 3 kills.
I saw that actually. That was a. Yeah. Even tried to give the AK to Electronic.
And Electronic's nag. Take it, fam. It's yours. You're doing good with it.
Keep it, King.
That just summed it up. That just summed up how Mirage was.
Yeah, I saw that clip.
When Simple just get one tap from guy jumping into jungle, kills him one tapping him. You can't beat him.
Like, Bit, Perfecto, and Simple all have like ADR of 80, 96, and 100. Jesus. Yeah, Bit and Perfecto, I'm just looking at the stats now on the CT side. Both of them have over 100 ADR. 120, 130, so that's just nuts. These individuals honestly can just pop off though for Na'Vi.
Yeah, people were shitting on some Die Young, but I feel like anytime he was needed, like he stepped up. Like you kind of don't need to step up when you got 100 ADR on 2 of your players.
Yeah, exactly. He's just coming in
He's
as
like
well,
the glue.
isn't he?
Yeah.
Where was he on T side? I didn't watch the. I didn't watch
I
the
don't
Mirage.
remember. He's on the Mirage.
It'll probably be mid, right? Because I know.
He was with the pack all the time, supporting other guys.
Mhm.
You know, just
Yeah.
filling and trading.
Yeah.
And
I think
uh,
that's
Well,
his role at the moment, because that's the role that Boomich did, and he's taking mostly the
Yeah.
in some parts. And I think Electronic is the key factor, because Navi won the whole tournament. And, of course, Simple showing up is another one. But I think the Electronic consistency throughout all the tournament
Yeah.
make a big difference for them. Because you always expect, Beat and Simple to perform. But having Electronic while IGLing performing, I think that's a huge boost for them.
Yeah.
He's had like no drop off in skill from switching to calling.
I'm always a bit
Yeah,
iffy,
yeah.
like whenever like the star player gets, or well, not the star player, I guess, in this scenario, but when like a really good player gets the IGL role, like
Yeah.
Mezia, I'm always a bit
Nico.
with Nico, yeah, but with Electronic, it looked fantastic. And I even like what they did with STY because they didn't just shove them all into Boomish's spots. Like on Inferno, I noticed they switched a bit to the B bomb site and put STY in short, which kind of like they made space for him, accommodating him, which I really liked.
To be honest, it's a funny thing, I saw that as well almost on every map they've changed positions, and it's funny how quickly they're adapting as a team.
Yeah, they're so
Having
good.
As bit,
the change, and putting Electronic on all the Boomish position is insane. How quickly they're adapting.
Has Bit like even ever like played B bomb site, for example? Because I don't think I've never seen him play it.
Bit plays B on Mirage, doesn't he?
No, I mean on Inferno. Sorry.
Oh,
I think they started him there, right? When they were
they did start him there.
rostering it.
I remember.
They
Oh, they did,
playing
okay.
I remember him playing against Astralis in the first blast that he
Right.
started.
Yeah, you're right.
Not for a long
Yeah.
time.
He
not
got
for a long
wrecked.
time, for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
I remember that game. But yeah, I guess it would make sense like to put him there since he had some experience with it, and I guess SDY just wanted to play short.
But Sickly, to touch base with Sickly, like Electronics positions like being switched up, it's amazing how well they're playing. Like I know, like I just recently watched Inferno. I can't remember who they played, and Electronics playing Rotator and Long. How he's usually playing Pit.
Yeah. And it was OG.
All right, so that was Mirage. Any last comments? Do we want to touch base on Vitality and their Mirage? Teams are picking it against them, right?
Yeah, I'll jump in. I'll just kind of say I think it definitely sticks out an awful lot on Mirage that I don't think this team's still looking super comfortable in their roles. Were obviously where the game is at, I guess, but more so for Vitality, like their CT sides are super important, and I think they just look a little bit awkward, and also kind of individually as well. Dupree and Masuta are just really not pulling their weight in some of these games, and I think that's a pretty big issue. That you've got half the team maybe going in one direction, half the team going in another, and it's maybe possibly, I don't know, an event like this might bring them up, but it's maybe possibly time to like try and figure out what's going on, because there's some pretty big, I wouldn't say fundamental, but there's some pretty big issues for sure.
The big thing that I've seen a lot is they I know Apex has always been a very emotional person, and that can be a blessing and a curse. I think this new iteration it's just cursed by it, because anytime, especially Simple, or I've seen like rounds where Monacy wins a clutch, and it's just there's like they cannot come back from like a crappy round or a round that doesn't go their way.
Have they always been like this though?
Apex has.
Okay.
I don't think the whole entire team was.
Yeah.
I feel like Apex is affecting Magisk and Dupree, because I can guarantee you Glaive was not as bad as Apex was in terms of getting emotional.
The Vitality published how can I say, documentary from the major, and there was a clip, you know, from Maggie's telling Apex, take your pills, man. You can go
I
check
haven't
it
seen
out on
that actually.
YouTube.
Actually, I haven't either.
It's really interesting. You guys should go see. You know, it gives you some insight on Vitality's, you know, camp, on how they're operating and what the issues are at the moment.
Yeah.
I always
can't
watch
help-
I watch every team's, you know, documentaries to, you know, get
Yeah.
insights, learn something.
I can't help notice like how much Apex tilts is.
Yeah,
It's not great for a team. Like, if I was a player, I mean, I've had, we've probably all had players in our teams where they're like
sure.
super tilting. It's just not really a good environment. I personally just wouldn't be happy with it. I think Debris also been a bit emotional as well. I've seen him on the cams as well.
That's like kind of how like French CS always has been though. Like if you
Yeah,
think
that's
back,
true.
like Envy and all that sort of stuff, those teams were always really emotional. And I think having 3 Danish people in there doesn't really help because they're more robotic. At least like if you look back to Astrals when they had their era, it was a lot of like no emotions
Mhm.
and just get the game going. Whereas now it's a lot more emotional. I don't think either side is happy with how things are going, like internally as a team.
Yeah, I can see that.
All right, so let's move on to the second map, Overpass. Vitality picked Overpass against Na'Vi. Were you guys expecting Overpass? I was expecting either Inferno or Overpass because Na'Vi haven't played Overpass with their new lineup with the STY standing in, as well as, you know, if you had to look at like a weak map that teams pick against Na'Vi, it's usually what, Inferno, Ancient, or Overpass, right?
Yeah.
This is
Didn't
like
really matter.
is like the downfall of picking a super CT sided map. It's just like if you don't get it going right away, it's just a dud if you get nothing.
Yeah, it didn't matter at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially after
16-5.
losing Mirage.
11-4 CT side Na'Vi.
And then 5-1 T side, ending at 16-5. That did not matter one bit.
Let's see here.
Especially with like, you know, like electronic IGLing. I'm not saying like he's new, so
Yeah.
you give him like the benefit of the fact that, you know, new IGL, you can kind of like, you should punish it and give a you know, you should do a punish pick and get that guaranteed game 3, and they just didn't show it at all. Like, I think electronic is gonna be a good IGL. That's why it's a huge takeaway off it now.
Yeah.
To be honest, a team like Na'Vi, even though Electronic took the IGL role, it's a team that already has the basics, you know, protocols, setups, you know, strategies down. So I don't think he has so much work to do, you know, in game.
Exactly.
Would just call mid round, you know, certain situations when it get messy, you know. But I think they have everything set down already, so it's gonna be easy work for him, you know. We'll see maybe on the
that's
high.
perfect getaway.
And they also have like Blade's helping him as well. Like, don't forget, Blade also helped like Boomich a lot, and it seems like Blade always comes in with like a game plan like before the game. So
yeah, I saw that photo of SDY with like a book. He was just going through the notes.
really?
Like,
they gave him the book?
He gave him
Yeah,
like
he gave
a
him the
big
book,
ass
yeah.
book, and he looked like he was about to take a final, and he didn't know what the hell was going on.
they always look like simple.
Yeah, I know,
you know.
Simple and Boomich had papers.
But SDY had like 30 pages. They gave him like a 30-page book.
I saw a meme from the major with Bit had like the sheet, and it was like, this kid's at a major, he's doing his homework.
It's always been the Blade way, though, I suppose.
Yeah.
Like, you know, very, very
Thorough.
hands-on, and thorough, regimented kind of approach to the game. So I certainly feel like that's got to have helped them with this tournament, that it's like probably one of the better teams to slot a player in on relatively short notice, you know?
Yeah, definitely huge credit to Blade for probably coming up with majority of the game plan and setting up Electronic to be successful.
I just love how like Blade's like how he is mentally though, like with all these games. I think at the major he said even when he won the major he was saying, you know, we still have some things to work on. But you know, they just won a major. And they're still thinking about
we played bad, we made this many mistakes. Yeah, I remember that.
But I love his mentality for the game. It's really he's not like a yes man, you know, he's always like focusing on how to improve, and I really like that about him.
All right. Any takeaways from this Overpass game or the finals in general before we move on to like some other teams from Blast?
No, I don't think so. Navi
Yeah.
outperformed unless anyone else just
Yeah,
outperformed. They
no.
just did they slaughtered everyone pretty much.
Who,
the whole
Navi?
Oh.
Yeah.
I will say Vitality was like they've been needing an event where they do good, and I feel are saying that they need like a snowball event. And even though they made the finals, I feel like this was still not that event. Like this was kind of a
feel like
shitty
G2
final
choked.
for them.
I feel like G2 choked.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like it seems not a fluke, but it
Yeah.
just does not. It's not going to get them going, in my opinion.
But it's a good sign though that they made it this far. Because have they made playoffs before with this
No.
new lineup?
No,
No.
they have not done really
No.
anything.
Because I know Dupree yesterday in an interview said that they were missing that confidence. That wasn't like giving. They didn't have any confidence to like go that far, and I guess that's what he was saying. That's how they part of the reason why they got this far.
We'll see the next event. Like if
Yeah.
they can snowball and get playoffs next
Yeah.
one, you know.
I want to be proven wrong.
Yeah, me too. I won't be proven wrong.
Yeah, I love Dupree. I want to see him, back high, near the top. I feel like because they've been losing so much, that's like took a heavy hit with their confidence.
Yeah.
Especially with like starting this, project from being the greats of CS, quite low down. But yeah, their roster is like entirely built to win trophies and win tournaments at majors, whatever. It's a good start for them, but they really need to. I think Zonic put it perfectly in his interview as well. It's just a step forward.
All right, so that's Vitality. Let's talk about G2 and how they did this tournament.
I think G2 and OG, yeah. Semifinal.
G2 got
Monace
to the
is
semifinals.
nuts.
Yeah,
Hmm.
G2 generals, they look pretty good. I think they just choked in the semis.
Yeah, that last map, Nuke, was a really good map. It was back and forth towards the end. But Nico at the end of that game said on Twitter that they're seeing improvements in their game. That's what makes me feel better. Super proud of everyone on the team. We gave it our all until the end. So it looks like their team is making progress despite them not playing so good over as of recently. So that's a good sign. So it looks like they're making progress, and they're probably not gonna make any roster changes.
I don't think so. You can kind of see it. Like they're slowly picking it up.
Yeah.
Like everyone's starting to click. LXCB, Monacy's doing amazing.
Yeah.
They're all slowly clicking. They just had to fix some of those like choke rounds, and they should be good.
Nico's performance has also been like great as well. Like I think
True,
Maniac said this
true.
was like his 5th best tournament.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nico played
Which
insane
is-
this tournament.
Yeah.
And what I need to see more out of G2, I feel like, is when I watch Kerrigan on HLTV Confirm, and they're asking him about how his IGLing, and he says like, "Oh, I give a lot of freedom to Rops and Twists and Brokey to make all these peaks and stuff like that." I feel like with G2 they have so much firepower. They need to like. Alexi needs to
They need to be unleashed.
He needs to find a way to replicate what Kerrigan and FaZe are doing with his star players.
Yeah,
I think that's the biggest thing
yeah.
for G2 is just getting Alexi B more comfortable with the team he has instead of
Mhm.
like the Ents team he is sort of used to, right? Because that's his like last really good team until now was Ents, and there they had to win because of tactics, but here I think you can just win a lot of games just because you have Monacy and Nico
Correct.
going out and killing people.
I think
I
with
also-
OG they did like pretty well, if I'm honest, with the players they had as well. Like
Yeah,
I think Zoran put it quite well. Like even at New York they made it to like the finals and lost to FaZe, but yeah.
I said it before, and I'll say it again. I still think OG and G2 would be better if Nexa and Alexi B did not swap. Because I think Alexi B would fit better with like Mant2 type players and like Flames, where they're kind of like growing.
Yeah.
But I think Nexa is a way more loose calling.
Yeah.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
can-
Next
I
is
can
way
agree
with
way more loose.
And they're
calling
both
than Lexi.
fragging.
Yeah.
But I think either can work. I just personally, that's like what I think. I think they should have just kept the same IGLs.
Yeah, for sure. I think as well, like Alexi, it's a bit weird. That I wouldn't necessarily say like overrated, but I think that he has stock that's maybe a bit higher with some players, I guess, than perhaps it should be. But regardless of like, you know, where calling styles and things like that, I definitely feel that G2 sort of had like two massive humps to get over initially, in the sense that like they go from one extreme of it being like mega loose and, you know, Nexus not actually like calling on every single map of the last major or whatever, to being very, very strict. And then of course, like in the early days of this roster, they didn't necessarily have every piece because of all the Ronas and that kind of stuff that kept like cropping up. So I think they've had some difficulties pretty early on, but it seems like they are, I guess, similar to Vitality, like on the right path. Things are slowly but surely improving.
Yeah, good point. So yeah, like everyone's on their team is saying that, you know, they're making good progress. So can't wait to see where they go from here. Next team we're gonna talk about is OG. Actually, let's just talk about FaZe first before we go into OG. So FaZe, they lost in the semifinals in IM Dallas to Cloud9, and now they lost to Na'Vi in the quarterfinals.
Okay.
Now, is this a concern for FaZe, guys? Are you concerned about FaZe after winning the major? Do we have concern for FaZe right now?
I think it's quite common, like after after a major, a lot of teams have like lost their first tournament after a major, but they did. Well, let me have a look at the game.
But FaZe going to IM Dallas, there's like stand-ins, you know, and they were like major favorites.
I would say it's more of like a reality check in my opinion, because I think the Dallas was worse than this Blast one, because I think Na'Vi just single-handedly like won that game. Like I don't think FaZe, they weren't like on their A game, but they weren't playing horribly. But Na'Vi was like on fire.
So the scoreline are just 16-6, Inferno 16-1. So yeah, they got battered.
Oh yeah, the Na'Vi FaZe game, yeah.
But it's not a good sign, but yeah.
Who did they lose to before that though? Did they lose to anybody?
G2.
G2. Okay, yep, G2.
Yeah. That was also a very close series, right?
Yeah.
So one of the maps was close, and then it was sort of like it's 3 maps, but the sort of top and tail, as it were, of the series were pretty one-sided. So
they ran away with it.
So you guys aren't concerned for FaZe yet?
Give it to Cologne. If they
how
bomb out of Cologne,
how about Roobet? This Roobet Online Cup. What if they bomb out of this?
Oh, then
I
mean, it is online, but it would be another cause for concern. Like another.
I'd say cause for concern. I'd say like a roster change though. I'd say if they mess up Cologne, then
Cologne's the big one. If they really fuck up on Cologne, then something for concern.
Sickly, what's your input on FaZe?
To be honest, I wouldn't give too much concern to FaZe at the moment, because I would think as every team on the major, because major is dream of every team, every player, and on major almost every team gets drained emotionally. Until they have a break, and after the break they don't perform, then I will think they will have room for concern. But now whatever results they have, maybe like bomb out of groups or maybe bomb out of quarterfinals, I wouldn't be concerned, because they need a break. They just won a major.
That's true.
They won. Which other tournament did they won as well?
They won a lot before that.
They won a lot.
Yeah.
They've been working hard, till now, and they get that, space. So you see.
And to be fair, they lost to well, both teams they lost to. Both teams won the tournament. Cloud9 and Na'Vi.
Real quick here, to touch good point, Sickly. So Kerrigan, like after like post game interview, he's like, we just haven't had enough practice. We're playing all these tournaments, so yeah, you're right. They need a break.
For sure, they've been just traveling all the time. They travel from the major to IM Dallas, back to Lisbon. They have media days, and they cannot even do proper practice. Not even fix mistakes. Not even have time to chill. To relax your mind. So
you also have a good point right there too, because they just traveled from like Antwerp, Dallas, Lisbon. Na'Vi didn't go to Dallas, and they just literally were just focusing on Blast. So that's a really good point.
I'm sure you guys can feel the same way, right, Sickly? Even though you're not traveling, you guys play a lot of officials, right?
fairly,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
I'm just saying after the major, even though we didn't manage to go to the final, and,
yeah.
like that, we were very drained emotionally, because
Uh-huh.
every team is really invested, to win the games and so
Mhm.
on. And you need to recharge the batteries, as they say. So
Yeah.
I think it's normal for them. It's understandable. After the break, I think then we'll see what
Mhm.
happens.
I think we're too used to like back in the day when Astralis, which was dominating, they won every single damn tournament. That's how we're kind of like always used to that FaZe should be
Robots.
dominating. Yeah. So I think perfectly said we're overlooking it a little. I'll say after the player break, if they're not doing that good, then it's a huge place
Okay.
of concern.
I think that's good enough for FaZe. Actually, before we go to OG, I want to talk about ENCE. So ENCE lost 2-0 in the quarterfinals against Vitality. I would say this was ENCE's. A lot of people had favored ENCE to maybe even win this tournament here, seeing how well they've been playing as of recently, and this was probably their best chance. What are you guys' thoughts on ENCE?
Super surprising, if I'm honest. Like
Mm.
they
That's
just
a huge
came.
plan.
Yeah, they just came second to IM Dallas as well. Maybe there's
Yeah,
some
with
sort
the
of
stand-in too,
uh,
with
yeah,
Snacks.
yeah, exactly. Maybe there's some sort of like jet lag. I don't know, but what was that? Let me look at these games again. Was it?
It
Say
kind
that
of looks to me
16?
like Furia. Like teams are kind of realizing like how they play. Like they're very
Mhm.
execute heavy.
Yeah, they are.
That's true. Yeah.
But I think again it's like this is kind of the first tournament's happened
But-
though, so I don't want to put too much thought into that.
But that's how far they've come, with all
Yeah.
these strategies that Snappy has. The playbook's deep, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't put too much thought into this specific
Yeah, I mean,
tournament.
it's also they get a bit of a tougher, not like tougher, but weird game to play when you've been traveling again,
Yeah,
playing against like new look OG. Is they've probably not had as much time to, and obviously there's not really that much to work with. So
Yeah.
doing the direct prep is a bit tough.
And it seems very prep heavy, so that's a
Yeah.
good point.
Yeah.
To be honest, playing a team like OG and unofficially we standing is the worst team to play against.
Yeah,
Dexter.
Every team would lose against,
you don't know what the hell they're gonna do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Literally, like you said, they gave Dexter room to go anywhere you
Yeah,
want.
that guy
Anywhere
is aggressive
kill.
too, and he'll do whatever he wants.
Yeah,
That's
like
the scariest
kill your hand with a high five.
Yeah.
Slapster.
True.
All right.
I feel like
Chopper.
it's like you need like 2 to 3 players just to have really good games for them to be
Yeah.
having good series. Like in IM
have
Dallas, they
Madden.
were all popping off. Whereas this, like, no one really stepped up. They played really well as a team, but like,
Mhm.
who are we gonna go against? Like, who's going against Zaiwu in the op duels? Like, no one is at that level. Like, no one can take Simple out that easily. It all has to be a group effort, which is
Yeah.
doable, but also really straightforward to deal with when you know that there isn't a simple just running up like connector to say and just headshotting your whole team.
Yeah, you can't have a wink link in the chain.
Yeah. I don't think that they've yet bagged like a proper world class player.
Yeah, exactly.
Like all the sort of other teams, I'd say floating around that top 5 spot, up and down, maybe in your 6 and 7 kind of thing. They maybe have a player that I could potentially see making like top 5 on HLTV this year or whatever, but I don't know that ENCE necessarily. I mean, Spinks could get there,
Top
Yeah.
15.
but
That's
They have kind of like almost like 3 potential like star players like for other teams. Like if Deha was on any other team, like he's gonna be their Spinks. But it's like it's kind of
Yes.
weird because he's almost like the electronic of the team, where he's like kind of the quieter, like just always solid, consistent
Yeah.
player.
Yeah.
I think Madden's also very good, but I don't know if he like is fitting the role in this team perfectly or not. But I think he's been very solid.
Okay. That's enough for ENCE. Last team we're gonna talk about from Blast is OG, with Dexter staying in for Mantu. Played very well to their expectations, right?
oh yeah,
Dexter
He
running
played
around
he played
doing whatever he
insane.
wants.
Mantu.
Neofrag played well this tournament as well. And
all played
they took a map off Na'Vi. They beat Na'Vi in the group stage,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
they brought it really close in the semifinals.
I will say, as a OG fan for a while and a big Mantu fan, it's bittersweet watching one of your favorite teams play without your favorite player, but then doing good. But it's like when they cut Who did Nip cut for device? Was that Knock?
No,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
When they cut Knock for device, you can't even be mad because like your spot's getting taken by device. Same thing with Dexter. Like Russian
Did you
operas
see
are
him?
just insane.
Did you see him the whole tournament? Well, I'm gonna get cut. And he was in, and, like,
Yeah.
literally in the Blast like Twitch stream. He was like, "Yeah, I'm getting cut, guys."
Oh well. Yeah.
Oh well.
We had a good
I'm
run.
gone.
Yeah.
GG guys.
So we'll touch with roster moves later in the segment with Montu and OG and Dexter. We'll talk about that later. That's it for Blast.
Wait,
Next-
breaking news though, by the way.
Wait,
because-
is it about
we'll do that in a bit. We'll do that in a bit.
One sec. It just happened like a couple minutes ago. So
Okay.
Liquid just the Shocks and the Dren just benched them. That's
Yeah, I
just
saw
happened.
that as well.
Yeah. I just saw on HLTV right now. We'll just mention that really fast.
Okay.
Yeah.
You could take the next segment. We're gonna talk about since we have Stikle on the show here, we're gonna ask him some questions and his time at the
Yeah.
major here.
Let me pop.
So Stikle, your team, Bad News Eagles, you know, you guys went really far, qualified for the legend stage. You know, some people had you as dark horses, and then some people just didn't believe in you guys. So
I believe.
how was coaching in the major? And how was your team's expectations going into the major?
It was a great experience, you know. It's a good learning experience, you know, to open your eyes and, you know, be in a LAN environment, studio environment, you say. It's a good way to grow the team, you know, and it was fairly enjoyable. I think we reached our goals there, and we should be happy with what we did the first time we went to the major. And we'll see about further. And you know, our goals since the start was, you know, time by time, you know, goal by goal. Our first goal was to, you know, qualify for the RMR. And then when we qualified for the RMR, we set the next goal, you know, to go to the next stage. We made the challenger stage. From there on, you know, we wanted to go even further, and then reach the legends. I think by myself, we could have went even further. We should have won the Copenhagen game, 100%, but we throwed it. Against FaZe, to be honest, that score doesn't make justice to the game. You know, when I rewatched the game with my guys, we saw the mistakes. There were so many stupid mistakes, you know, that shouldn't be happening. But mostly, I think it was some, you know, nervous mistakes, you know, or let's say communication one, and it happens. It's understandable. You know, this is the first big LAN, and that should have been closer. And then the last one, you know, I think we were really emotionally drained versus Imperial. And unfortunately, it went how it went. And that's
It looked to be close games as well.
And they're all.
To be honest, we should have won the Copenhagen game and the Imperial one. We should have won it. We should have won them 100%, but it happens, you know. And I'm fairly happy, you know, considering all stuff and without backing up, you know, without any support, we made it this far. So I should be happy, and the guys are happy as well.
Speaking of the major, like since you coached it, like what changes would you want, like for the upcoming?
Can you repeat it again, because it disrupted?
Oh, sorry. Since you just coached the major, what like changes would you want to see for the next one? Like a new like go back to group stages, get rid of the Swiss system. Any recommendations of what changes that you would like to see?
I think not with the seeding, but with the map rules, you know, because the higher seeded team always had the upper hand. So whatever team was a higher seeded, they always were favored. You know, they were like 60-70% they're gonna win the match because they had all their favorite maps. You know, whatever bans you would do, you always pick up their map. You know, because for example, they would ban the first two, you'd ban or the other way, you would ban the first two, ban the last, the other three maps, and then they would leave the last two of their favorite maps. And then when you pick one of them, they're starting on city side. So whatever map you choose, you know, you're always gonna start on T side on their map, on their favorite map. So it was kind of, you know, not favorable to have a fair competition, but it was so. So I think that it might be better, you know, if they changed that and gave teams a bit more fair, you know, competition to play
I
in the
never
middle.
thought of that.
In the middle, you know. Because every time we'd play a higher seeded team, we'd always play on their map, we'd start on T side, you know, all the time. And, you know, they had the upper hand all the time.
Yeah.
I actually never thought of that. That's actually like a great, and they should change.
Now, Stikle, what was your? Did you guys boot camp before, or what was your preparation before heading into the major?
So we started the boot camp on end of the March, on the 28th of March, and till the RMR we were back in Kosovo. We did like 3 weeks practice,
Mhm.
focusing on major, just fixing the mistakes, ironing out some strategies and focusing for that part only. And then after we qualified for the major, we went back to Kosovo. We had a blast immediately after that. We took some days off, prepared some and fixed some mistakes, and then we reached to Belgium.
Was this your guys' first LAN as a team?
No, we actually had the LAN, a regional LAN in Kosovo by Giraffa, and then we had the stage LAN back in Albania, again from Giraffa. We played versus Fords, in some tier 2 teams, and they beat us on the final with a 3-2 score. They were actually beating us 2-0, and then we came back to 2, and they beat us in the last one. That's another old story, in itself. It's kind of
All right. Thank you for sharing with that. Go ahead, Saga.
Oh no! Speaking of the major, like you guys performed amazingly. You guys gonna stick together? Any new orgs gonna interested in picking you guys up at all?
Hopefully we're gonna stick together. You never know. Maybe guys can get some offers that might change their minds or stuff like that. But I hope, and the guys have said so far they want to stick together. We've had offers from organizations, but not a proper one. The one that we would like. Mostly their offers, just trying to take advantage of the team. They're all very, maybe not valuing us as much as we want, or even lower than that, than the usual. So at the moment, we'll see. Everything at the player break, I think we'll get something done. Hopefully.
Now, is James Bank? Is he helping you guys out with that?
Yeah, so the role at the moment, James is handling all the talks with the organization, and that's a whole other job in itself. I was doing that before, and it was consuming so much of my time. And now James is in charge of that. He's having all the talks with the organization, going through negotiations and stuff like that. And I'm still, doing all the other stuff, beside coaching.
Yeah,
that needs to be done for the team.
That's awesome. Good guy, James. Shout out to him. Yeah, I want to see you guys stick together because, with Copenhagen Flames, they were such a solid squad. And then, as of recently, they broke up, selling individuals away because they couldn't get an org. So it would be a shame to see you guys break up like that.
Hopefully not. Yeah, I have good faith. If we get a proper backup organization and give us a proper support, I think we can go far. Because to be honest, I haven't done my job properly since January. We're doing a bit of practice there and there, and there's so many other stuff, having the difficulties of where we live, in our countries, and having to do other stuff as well. It's kind of mind-boggling, what have been done, so far. But still, if we get a proper organization, they give us proper backing, I think we'll go so much further. I think at the end of the year we might even contend for top 10.
Oh, okay, okay.
I'm pretty confident.
Oh yeah, I would like to see it. I have another question, kind of outside CS a little. I was pretty much after the major. You guys got your whole team got visited by the Prime Minister of Kosovo. How does it actually feel that your government, like their government, like supports you guys a little? How would you see that? Because in NA they don't give a shit. But in EU, they don't. Come on, NA they don't care. But in like
you
EU,
wait till Biden turns up, bro.
Yeah, easy there. He just fell off a bike. Calm down. How does it feel like your government actually watches and supports you guys?
It's actually really interesting. I was surprised when we qualified for the RMR in Romania. We had an enormous support, by everyone back in Kosovo, and then we had the politicians as well, chipping in, getting their own, recognition with the sport. So it was really nice, having them support us. If you guys don't know, for example, Kosovo is not part of the EU at the moment, so they don't have the visa-free, to move around Europe. So the government is helping out the guys, to get visas, more easily, because there's a whole other, worry about
That's
the
it.
guys about the tournament, to obtain visas and such. And now the politicians and the ministers and administrators is helping with that part, and trying to incorporate esports more, and having, for example, a legislation law for that, so it's kind of nice, having to see that. But it's all up, to them. Let's see what they do, to support the scene more.
Because that's actually just pretty cool. Because like again, here they don't care, but in Europe they actually actually care. And I know Kosovo's not part of the EU, but it's just awesome to see that your government is just literally just kind of supporting you like a real sports team, like a soccer, like a football club. It's pretty cool.
Like you
Yeah,
cannot
it's
in soccer, by
really
the way.
nice. You know, in
Yeah, I know.
Kosovo,
I'm a West Ham fan. Calm down.
actually in Kosovo, maybe I'm biased, but CS is more followed than, you know, football. Let's say, you know, because there's been so much interest. Whenever we
really?
went out and, you know, with the publicity that has been done on social medias, all of our six, you know, we get recognized everywhere. Everybody says, oh,
Oh,
good
sick.
job, you know, you guys are awesome. And they want autographs all the place we go. So it's huge in Kosovo. And it's like a culture there, you know. For example, 1 in 3 people, they play CS there. Even, you know, maybe people are a bit, you know, more aged, you know, let's say maybe they're from their kids and so on. So it's become like a culture there, you know? And it's really nice. I'm really enjoying it, and I want it to go even further.
Can't think of like many other like teams who have had their like prime minister visit. Obviously, they had Australia and Denmark, and you guys, but from the top of my head, I'm struggling to like think of any more examples.
The example just France, like the
Yeah,
Macron.
yeah.
He wants
Yeah.
the
All
major.
right.
Yeah, that's what just
Yes.
happened, which is pretty cool. Again, it's awesome to see like a government legit saying like,
Yeah.
"We want the damn major." And it's just so
I
cool.
haven't seen that actually. I've seen them like post like Zaire posters around like
Yeah,
Paris.
I saw that.
but
Yeah.
It's just awesome.
At the major, who showed up at the major? What government politician? He
For
was
us,
he
you
was
said?
yeah he was talking to Shocks on stage.
remember.
Oh,
I don't know what his title is. Is he mayor or governor or I don't know.
on our side, no, I don't think anyone came from
Oh
our
no,
side.
not for you,
Oh,
Sickly. The
No,
mayor of
yeah, the
Antwerp.
mayor of
Thank you,
Antwerp.
thank
The
you.
mayor of Antwerp.
Okay,
Yeah, that
yeah.
was it.
That was pretty
all
cool.
right,
that
yeah.
he came to show support.
Gaben didn't.
I'm just waiting for him to say like, this team is good, but maybe they can work on so and so. Just like surprise everyone with like all of his CS knowledge.
Yeah.
All right. Do you guys have any questions for Sickly?
We got some
Before
Reddit questions.
We got some questions in the document.
Yeah, we got some Reddit questions coming up from
Okay.
Redditors.
You wanna
Let me
ask?
go. Because some of them are he kind of just went over like the Balkan region, how you guys get massively supported. You kind of answered that already. One Reddit guy says like, how does it feel to be the only 4,000 ELO plus coach in the scene? Also, did you ever consider being a player before becoming a coach? And if you did, why did you choose to coach over a player?
Actually, I was a player in our last organization. I'm the one who started, you know, with another guy. And then, you know, after some guys came on our team, I was forced to be a coach at the first. I didn't like it, of course, but, you know, that was my only way to continue forward with esports, you know, and I, you know, step by step, I embraced it. And of course, everything I take, you know, I want to be the best at it, you know, and improve so bad. And then I took it for granted, you know, and now I am where I am.
Do you like being a coach now then, or would you prefer to be a player?
No, to be honest, I like the coach, you know, having to
Oh, that's
understand
good.
other teams and, you know, the strategy part, you know, when reaching this level where we are, this team is really enjoyable, you know, and when you see the stuff that you told your team, you know, and how to do it and them working, you know, is you take that, you know, how can I say, I don't know, I'm not getting any more than, but it's really enjoyable.
Saga, what else do you have?
I'm just summing up. Some of the questions are kind of the same,
Okay.
but this is a good one right here. It says, do you expect the level of competition in the CS obviously to increase in a couple of months before the next major and on? And how do you see like your success? Do you guys think you're going to be like, more successful in the future?
So you were saying, do I
Like,
see the game improving, the teams improving, and then for
Yeah.
us,
Yeah.
To be honest, I think we've reached a fairly high competition in the whole scene. You know, every team has been improving so much. There's so much information. Thanks, Nart, for that.
Thank you.
This year will be all turn against you soon.
You know, there's so much information online now for every team to improve But the difference between tier 2 teams and tier 1 teams is knowing when to use the strats, when to not use the strats, when to react, when to implement the strats as fakes, having the psychological part of the team. There's so much stuff that I think that makes a difference between tier 2 teams and tier 1 teams.
Mhm.
And that's the thing where we're transitioning at the moment. So we were, for example, having strats set up, and getting used to that, and now we're trying to reach the other part when we're being more a reaction team, reacting on the round,
Mhm.
making up reads, anti-stratting other teams, working around that when you set up a system.
Actually, I got a question.
Go right ahead. Go right ahead.
Sorry. I was say, what's like for the next major? What's your expectations? Like, what are your goals? Is it to make it to like playoffs or?
I think if we stick around and we do what I've planned after the player break, I think is a fairly reachable goal for us.
That's fair, yeah.
Yeah, I can
Can
see it.
Where
reach
did
the playoff.
did you guys make it to Legends last time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we made it to the legend.
Yeah, you made it to the Legends stage, yeah.
Saga, any more Reddit questions?
There's literally one more. This is for everyone,
Mhm.
not just focus on one guy. This is for like the for the FPL, FPLC, the upcomers in the scene. What advice would you give them to help them improve to the next level? This is for everyone. Everyone can answer this question. Don't just
Okay,
focus
I'll
on one guy.
start. So on my side, I will tell new players, to work on the psychological part and watch a lot of demos. Because everybody does individual practice and so on, but they should be watching a lot of demos to understand the game better. Maybe with somebody else. They have to start small in teams. That's the only way I think the player will improve, because there's so much you can do individually, going in FPL and FPLC and stuff like that. In my opinion, I don't like that at all. I'd rather have a player, start in smaller teams and from there progressing, Let me take an example. The way that Gambit did with Gambit youngsters, they didn't care about FLC or FPL or something like that. They only improved as a team, and look where they are now. They're contending, for major different titles and so on. So I would say, start from a small team, watch demos, and work on psychology.
Also, watch Nard out here too. Yeah.
Sure, yeah, and that is
Thank you for the plug.
Adding on to that, I think the biggest is deliberate practice, where like a lot of people say that they want to go pro or like they want to do something with CSGO, and then they'll spam like 8 pugs a day, where they could be like watching demos, practicing spray, like stuff like that, where you really have to think about everything you do, and otherwise it's going to be very stagnant in improvement.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
I know when like Blame F wanted to go pro, like he set himself like an insane task. I can't remember what it
Yeah.
was, but it was like
It was thousands of bot kills. Like
like he wanted to, make his aim like really crisp. Like he wanted to really dedicate himself like 7 months, I think. So on it personally, I think it's good to like watch individual demos to find out how like what role suits you and like how to play that part of the map, as well as this individual aim.
yeah, everything you do to improve should have like a reason behind it. Is the key.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
All right. Thank you guys for all your answers. Before we move on, we have KayJay here. KayJay, you were the
Yes.
former RBG coach who, if people
Yes.
don't know, is currently EG CD, right? They're
Yeah,
formerly
Carpe
known as
Diem.
Carpe Diem,
Yeah.
but they recently got signed by EG. You coached them for how long? Like 2 years?
Like a year, just over
Okay.
a year and a half.
And then you, what happened? Like you stopped coaching them because of
work. I'm still in the military, so I got
Mhm.
deployed for 6 months and then decided to step down then, and that's when they picked up. Now he's coaching them over at AG.
Yeah, so that do you still talk to those guys over there?
Oh
Still
yeah,
friends
like
with
a
them?
bunch. I still
Yeah.
talk to them pretty much daily.
So if you weren't in the military, you would be still coaching them, maybe, possibly.
But possibly, you never
Possibly,
know what would have changed if I was still coaching them or if they didn't pick up Axe. But
Yeah.
I don't think that team doesn't like roster changes at all. I think the only reason
Mhm.
I left was because of work. So who knows?
Yeah, I remember RBG you guys stuck together for like a long time.
Yeah.
Compared to NA teams, making a roster change every like month or so.
Yeah, pretty sure like they had the same roster from like winning
Mhm.
main to
Yeah.
like a season or two into Premier.
So, you recently came back to coaching, or like give us like an update on your life?
Came back to coaching once I got back from the deployment. Been coaching a few Premier teams, now coaching X13 for the season,
Mhm.
and then
First
seeing how
season?
things go for now. For now,
Was this your first season coaching them?
yes. No, second season.
Second season, okay. And you
First
guys,
season was in Premier, and then
you guys are
Now we're
currently
cooking
in
advanced.
advanced playoffs for anyone
Yeah.
who doesn't know in NA. Lost your first matchup against One Tap, right?
Yeah.
2-0, lost 2-0.
Yes.
And now you're in the lower bracket. Do you know your next opponent?
Limitless on
Limitless.
Wednesday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, good luck to you, Go.
Thank you.
Do you have any plans of maybe like going pro? Like if like you want to be like a pro analyst or a coach?
Yeah, it's kind of hard with work right now
Okay.
because I work like 8 to 3, 8 to 4, 8 to 5.
Okay.
And then I'm watching all the demos to put the time in. And if I do analyst work for like,
Mhm.
let's say like an EG or a Liquid, then that's a lot of hours on top of it.
Yeah.
Right. So it's difficult now, but there is a chance I take a break from the military, focus
Mhm.
on coaching full time, and then
Okay.
seeing where that takes me.
All right. When Sickly signs with an org, we'll get you two in contact.
Yeah,
'cause,
yeah.
He'll need assistant coach, analyst. All right.
Yeah, okay. I'll hit him up.
Okay. All right. So that's that. Let's talk about CS update, guys.
I like it. I like the changes they made to Ancient. It feels a lot less
Yes.
CT
Oh,
sided
yeah.
now. That A bomb site. Thank you for removing
You can
that.
plant now.
You can plant now.
CS update.
That crossfire, I'm not joking,
Two
is
main-
ridiculous.
All right, since we're talking about Ancient, I have the pictures here.
Like they removed
Oh, hold on here.
the entrance between like Temple and Cave, and it's honestly it was just so like whenever I watch like pro teams just trying to execute to the bomb site, I'm just thinking like, yeah, good luck.
Yeah.
Also, I forget the
Here we
call. I don't
go.
know that you call it like an EU and NA, but the boxes in middle,
Yeah.
like those being removed, that is also. I think that might be almost bigger than Temple.
So
Yeah.
CSGO posted the pictures, and I have them if you're looking. Let's talk about
Yeah.
the first picture here, which the update is they blocked off the one of the temple entrance towards to see Donut. I really like this. It's gonna you're gonna see a lot of more A splits coming through.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
sure.
I think like it's also like really nerfed AWPers in that spot because I know like a lot of AWPers, Alien, Brokey, I think Dexter like love playing around that area. Like just quickly moving from one angle to the other, and it's just difficult to like track them because they're just switching between those two different angles. But it's really,
I like how they
it's
didn't negate
it's a lot
that
more
either.
fair. I think.
I know a lot
Yeah.
of pros were asking for like another box or something to to help
Yeah.
plant because it's super hard to plant on the A site with
There's
the
no
spam.
cover.
With the spam from Donut and
Yeah.
CT. It's just, and then like when your smokes are gone, when I watch pro play, like when the second phase comes in and the T's haven't planted yet, it's just impossible then just to do something.
Yeah, post plant's so hard on old
Especially
Ancient.
with the A1S meta.
But,
Old A1S meta.
but you guys like this change here on the A site so far.
I love it.
Yeah. I still think
Yeah,
they might need to do more to the
box.
site.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, like a box or two.
Yeah.
But like I think this is direct step in the right direction for sure.
I agree.
Skriv, input on this?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like definitely on the A side of things, I definitely agree. Maybe possibly making the site, like the plant site, a little bit bigger.
Mm-hmm.
I can see that.
Yeah.
As well.
It's still pretty small. I'm looking at it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Used to
Well,
be
I don't
smaller,
know.
right?
I don't know. I'm not sure where they want to take the direction of it as well, right? Like how do they want the map to feel at the end of the day? I do feel like the A bomb site is a little ridiculous.
What's the names?
To be honest. Yeah, the classic.
Sickly, have you guys played the new Ancient yet? Practiced on it?
No, we haven't
Not yet?
actually.
Okay.
I've just done theory on it. Then
Okay.
I enjoyed this, doing A contacts, with smoking CT now and
Uh-huh.
having the Oper just, point out and watch the temple is better. We call that temple.
Yeah.
And then you can just, we call the position when you go outside of the temple, we call that brokey, we can have then, if you take the temple control with
Yeah.
the rifle, you can have the Oper, just donut and whatever. So I enjoyed this and it made it more doable. Because as you guys said before, it was a nightmare, to plan the bomb on it. It still is,
Yeah.
but it's more, it's better.
Yeah.
If they add one box, just so you can cover away from donut, like a safe plant.
Oh yeah, like right here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, funny enough, the side used to be like a lot smaller, didn't it? Like you would
Yeah.
completely open the donut.
Yeah.
Okay.
Didn't he add one box?
So the next change in Ancient is adding this wood wall
That
in
was
front of the
needed.
pillar. Just
This is really nice as
Just
well.
be able to plant.
Simple just showed why they need that because he
Really?
just did it
Yeah,
he did an off
yeah.
shot against the OG, I think it was, and he just stopped the bomb plant and won the round.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, because they played old Ancient still.
Yeah,
Okay.
they played old Ancient.
Yeah.
He just showed why you need that box.
But you can still shoot through this box. I tested it, but I
Yeah,
didn't see how much
Yeah.
damage though. But I'm sure it takes some damage
It's-
away. But yeah.
It's more for like, do you know when like the smokes go all the way and you're planting, and all of a sudden you're stuck behind default now.
Yeah.
Sometimes like your leg will be sticking out, and it's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
kind of reducing that.
There was
I
not
actually-
like a lot of margin for error, I guess, for like
Exactly, yeah.
after you've got the bomb down. A bit hard to know
Uh-huh.
which parts of you were like sticking out.
True.
Also,
point,
Grizz made
guys.
like a Grizz also made like a good point in chat. I haven't actually
Uh-huh.
checked it as a cave player, but he just says, as I feel like as a cave player, they made it a lot worse to play in.
Yeah,
I get-
I don't like cave at all at the moment. I think it's rather, you leave cave to the terrorists, just focus on ramp maybe, or take it from mid to fight the banana, the ramp thing from B. I think we call cave, yeah, this one. I don't know how you call it
This?
in an A, cheetah or
We
something.
we call it donut.
Oh, that's
Oh,
no,
donut. The
not
next
donut,
one.
not donut. I mean the other one.
Oh,
next one.
Yeah,
this
we
one
call it
here?
cheetah.
The next photo. Bring the next one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
cheetah cave.
Cheetah. We call this cheetah.
We call cave closer to site.
This one I call it cave. We call it
Cave.
cave.
Okay.
So I think they made it shorter on the
Yeah,
right
on the-
side.
Yeah.
So with a single Molotov now you can take the whole of it. So
Mhm.
I don't think.
Oh,
it's
they made
big.
that shorter.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This area
Oh,
is
I-
small.
Then
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize they made like the actual
Mhm.
like cheat bit shorter. I finally
Yeah.
I didn't actually see that or notice it.
So my idea how you would play now in Asia, it would be, for example, having a B player and having an A player, and having 3 guys on mid, and one of the guys from mid would be Molotov in the entrance of cave, and the other 2 would be focusing on mid, and everybody would be fighting from mid control as a city side, and then transitioning, fighting maybe the ramp here. That's one of the rounds I thought we could play without having a guy from cave.
Almost like Mirage.
I think that's
So-
what they're trying to do,
Yeah.
mimic a bit of Mirage, having maybe 3 players.
3 lanes. Yeah.
Yeah, even removing the boxes just opens up that lane
Yeah.
a lot more for the T's. They don't have to have 3 people running up to go to cheetah just to get naded and mollied at the start of the round and just dying.
CTs have to
Yep.
be. They have to worry now if they come out of here because of the
It's like
the mid players.
It's like a true short, like on Dust 2 or Mirage. Like it's kind of like that now.
It also
Yeah.
prevents like that the annoying boost. Like it just completely denies that now because I know for CT side, it was actually really good for them just to catch people out.
You guys like this change then? They removed the box here.
Oh yeah.
On paper, I like it.
Yeah, we'll see how it plays out. I mean, I kind of noticed this as well, and Grizz has mentioned it in the chat and whatnot. But I don't necessarily play at the highest level, but I played a couple games where people really cracked like run boosting mid. Obviously, it's a lot of resources and things like that, but there might be a way for some teams to sort of really crack it with the utility, and you can get there quite fast and see players coming into B as a CT.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Obviously, you can't keep on doing it, but it's definitely something to like consider that there might be a couple rounds where, when you get an AWP out or whatever, it's a little dangerous. You got to be aware of that area on the T side. But I don't know. I suppose like the trade off, as we're sort of saying, is that Cave is much more claustrophobic now, I guess.
I like this change because it helps the tease more. Because if they come out mid, I haven't tested the timing, but I'm sure they could spot anybody coming out cheetah. If you know in the pro play,
Yeah.
they often flash the cheetah player out to peek towards lane.
Oh, you can, like,
I
watch
think you
it
could
as
punish
well.
them now if you come out.
Yeah, and I think as
elbow
well,
here.
you can maybe go for some later sort of mid plays and whatnot. I think at least as a team, you
Yeah.
know, sometimes you get like an individual that can move out and get in behind or whatever. But if you want to go for genuine mid control on the T side, it feels like on Old Ancient you kind of just have to send 4 players in or whatever and hope that you know your flashes work out or whatever. Like, but now you can crunch a bit more like on your own time, as it were.
And then what I also like is that now CTs, like sometimes they have an opper just holding from here, looking towards B door, but the box would cover them from mid, or they have somebody jiggle peeking. Now you can't really do that unless you know you have this smoked out, elbow smoked out, or so. That's that. There's one more update that we didn't touch base. They made a donut lighter, and then the corners, right? They made it shorter. Was it?
No, they made it like more
Like
rounded.
round? Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Like
you
a
can, like,
quality of
bounce-
life change.
Yes, you can
Yeah.
bounce Molotovs off it now, and I guess
Mhm.
it's just more easy to spot like CTs, especially if they like
Yeah,
have,
less
like,
corners to clear.
This is
Yeah.
so annoying when CTs play behind the totem.
Yeah, I think 2 small changes that I think a lot of people are missing on this map are the lighting changes.
Mhm.
Like it's a lot easier seeing people cave and mid doors when you're a terrorist, as well as the rendering changes from donut out to mid. Because before, when you're holding from donut to mid, like everything disappeared, like all the plants and stuff, and you'd have like infinite FPS holding that angle. And it's a lot harder for the for the T's to come up versus you holding like 800 FPS, whereas now it stays rendered and it's a lot easier for it's like the FPS doesn't change and whatnot, so it's a lot more straightforward.
Also,
I don't know, something that I've paid attention, you know, when I was watching the map. I think they made the city spawn going towards A, the street. They made it a bit wider. I might be mistaken, but that's how it looked like, you know. From
Yeah.
I think they made that wider as well, so that's a good improvement as well.
I'm
Oh,
sure
I didn't even know that. Thank you for
the
pointing that
spam
out.
damage by
I'm
B
sure-
is also decreased,
Mhm.
as
Yeah,
well
true.
as that A1S nerf. That's like a huge thing hit for the
Okay.
CTs.
Let's talk
was-
about the A1S. You know, they Valve
Elephant in the room.
changed from 25 to 20 bullets in the mag, and then with 80 in the reserve. Do you guys think that's enough nerf, or
I think it's more like you get punished now if you want to try and go for like spam, through smokes, because you don't have that much bullets left. Or it was 25 before, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. So now it's 20. I guess it's just harder to make like full spams through the smokes. It's easier to punish. I guess it's harder to like multi-frag as well with the A1 if you're trying to spray.
I would have liked to seen a buff to the A4 because right now it just seems like both M4s just kind of suck, and it's just like which one you prefer or which one like sucks less almost.
I have to disagree with you. I don't think the A1S sucks.
I don't think-
Despite the 20 bullets, I don't think
It's still
you're not
light
going to see a lot. I don't think you're going to see a lot of people switch over to the
think-
A4.
I think if they increase it by like $100 or $200,
Or they
then
decrease the A4 down to 29.
you might see some people switching, but I'm probably going to see a lot of people still using the A1 if I'm honest.
Could be situational. Like maybe you're the cave cheetah player on the CT. You kind of want more bullets sometimes to spam, you know. So
Yeah.
maybe you do that switch, but otherwise
If
I
you're
don't really
playing-
see a switch.
I
If you
feel
can,
like actually for Valve, it's a pretty good change. Sometimes, or most of the time in the past, we've seen them change weapons and they just,
They
turn the
murdered it.
game upside down.
Yeah.
But I feel like this has brought, yeah, exactly, right. I feel like this has kind of brought the A1S a little closer to the center, whereas it may have been, like way off on one side, sort of in the OP scale, as it were. I think it has, you maybe just have to think a bit more, like on your spams through smokes and whatever you're doing. But I feel money, as we saw with like the org, you know, in 2018. Money is a big factor on, you know, pro teams and how they make their decisions. And then I also think that, you know, it still does relatively well in like a 1v1 fight. Might be a bit tougher on your multi-frags. Maybe we'll see some teams like test it out a little bit. Anchors or whatever maybe is like the classic argument that it's nice for them to have a few more bullets. But I also, one of the big things I think with the A1S is the fact that, like, you know, you have the damage for your one kill, but especially at the high level, it's like the extra little trickle damage that it's able to do to that second person that comes out to trade you, right? You might not get it, but you land 2 shots, and the damage on those 2 shots is a lot higher than the A4, and that's going to help, you know, the rest of your team later on in the round or whatever.
Yeah, you might even get the kill, like just from the HE damage as well. You know, early HE damage, and you just able to finish that player off. When with the A4, you can't really do that. But I don't mind the change, actually. I kind of like it.
I feel like the one change they need to make the guns more even is just make the A1S have the same damage fall off as the A4. Because right now, like...
Or the same
4...
price.
Yeah,
or the same price. Yeah. Right, but like right now, the A1S does... You can 4 bullets kills like from any distance, whereas the A4, like, at like A plat to long, it's like 6 to 7 bullets to kill somebody. Just because the damage fall off. So like, that's like a big thing in itself, is like just the time to kill with the A1 is just consistently throughout better versus A4, but the A4 does have the more bullets, but like big thing is just time to kill. Exactly.
The question is do you think to fix the A4, do you lower the price to 2,900 or do you raise the A1S to 3,100?
I think you lower.
I think so. I think CT economy is
I think
kind
you have to lower it.
Maybe just swap the prices.
But then that's a huge flip.
Yeah, it's a huge flip. I think just keep it both at 29.
You know what's one other thing that I like as well, idea that I like to entertain as well. Maybe Valve should keep it the same, but have 2 slots for them, so you could play either of them.
Yeah,
in different
that
situations.
would be.
That's the easy fix. That's too easy for Valve.
Everyone's been asking that for a while now.
Too complex for Valve.
All right, guys. I think that's good enough for M4.
Finish it. I think they should just buff the Krieg again. I'm not gonna lie.
No. Let's not.
We're not
meta. Let's
not
move
playing
on
Valorant
to Inferno. They increased the bomb explosion damage. What are your guys' opinion?
I did not see this coming. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
I like it.
That's pretty much an instant dojonate. You can't really hide in pit anymore.
No, it's not.
Can you still
I think it should have been that bad.
Anywhere
yeah,
you
you can
plant?
still hide in.
No.
So if
If
you
you plan in Moto, I think you can save it pit. You get like 70 damage or something like that if you're 100.
Okay.
But if you play like for lane or like kind of like the save plant, I think you do die.
Yeah, if you plant default, you die.
Yeah.
What happens if you like plant in the cubby like towards long? I'm guessing you survive, right?
Like for big pit.
Yeah, if you plant for a pit, it does like 50-60 damage.
Okay.
It's not horrible, but like
it should have been like this the whole time, to be honest. I don't know.
Yeah, it's
the only enough you can like save that close to space. Yeah.
The fact that I can see the bomb explode and I can still like survive with 100 HP is kind of messed up.
You think they're going to increase the bomb explosion there?
It's different with multi-level maps like Nuke as well. Like you could save or control like when there's plants, but it's different because like there's a lot. Inferno's just open.
Yeah, and just watch it.
And on Dust 2 as well, you can save on car if you wanted to on the B bomb site.
Yeah.
I think that's also quite ridiculous if I'm honest.
I don't know. Is it maybe a change that like kind of tries to come in for the pro level? I don't know, or is it just like a quality of life change?
It's kind of like a little both because now like you kind of have to like
get out of there.
Get out of there. You can't just hide inside and see a nice bomb blow up.
I think it's a good strain, to be honest. Because as far as I've seen recently, Inferno's become a bit more decided. I might be mistaken as well, but that's my opinion. So, for example, if the terrorist 2K side, they kill your two anchors on A, for example, and you're 3v5, there's no chance at all. So it'd be rather good, for teams to maybe fight the saving guys that could not save on pit anymore if they plant on default or
exactly
the save box. So I think it makes sense, to be honest.
I agree.
All right, good point, Stikle. Last change, just quickly cover it. Vertigo, the CT mid area throwing the molly that goes through the mid floor that goes towards B. They tried fixing it, but somebody found another way to throw it. So
Can't you
about-
do it from spawn now?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
there's
that
a-
one. Yeah.
Yeah, it's even better now.
Yeah, so I'm sure the devs will try to fix that again. So this is gonna be like
And
their
that
third,
position
fourth
on
time
ramp
doing
is
it.
weird.
So
Yeah.
all right, that's with the CS updates. Next topic that we're gonna go over is the Stewie situation
Oh god.
and Evie. So you guys don't know, Evie came out with a interview with Nell and did a recap of his time at EG, and he talks a lot about Stewie and their relationship. And then Stewie saw the interview, and he got a lot of backlash from the community without the community, you know, only hearing one side. So he came out with a Twitch stream giving his side. So what are you guys' thoughts on this whole Evie Stewie drama?
If I'm honest, I feel like Evie may have took it like the wrong way at times, or I feel like everyone is in a bit of the wrong. If I'm honest, like Stewie, there was a lot of points I kind of disagreed with, but with Evie, it seemed like he was in his head. He was like very determined to create, like, as he said, two camps, you know, two sides or whatever, split people apart, and even because he during the interview he says, like, even though me and Stewie are cool or whatever, he tries to be my friend, you know. I get stabbed in the back and then he gets kicked out, but I just don't see that, if I'm honest. Like, Stewie even said on the stream that him and Malik, like, it was between him and Malik,
Yeah.
and like he apologized to Malik for all the, you know, the back and forth as well, and at the end of the day, it was management who you know, got them both out, but it's not particularly great, if I'm honest. This all coming out, especially just for the org, you know, it's not good for their reputation.
Guys, any other input? Nobody wants to talk
I
about
don't
it.
know, man.
Did anyone watch the Stewie stream, or was it just me?
I've watched a little bit of it.
I watched
at
a
the
little
start. Yeah, but
I think I
it all just seems a bit silly, to be
Mhm.
honest. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know,
It does
man.
seem like
I
high school
feel,
drama.
yeah, like, you
Yeah.
know, there's some difficult stuff going on in the team. I think it's not a great time, and I feel
Yeah.
like, you know, we can perhaps all sit here and agree that maybe even on paper, people could perhaps tell that this wasn't really going to be like a huge savior of NA or whatever. So yeah, but even then, like, I just think that it's maybe not the done thing. Especially, you know, you can come out and say like your own piece and your own side or whatever, but he's sort of speaking for the people a little bit, and, you know, not letting them weigh in and whatnot. And I mean, it's just the way that, like, you know, journalism and stuff can go sometimes. But yeah, it's a big risk as well, isn't it? If he sort of comes out first and then it gives Stewie the floor to answer back, and I think everything sort of swung back in favor, and, you know, maybe supporting Stewie a little bit more. But yeah, I don't know. It does come across as perhaps
It's airing out dirty laundry.
a bit
Is what it
childish.
seems like.
That's a
Yeah.
perfect analogy right there.
Yeah, Digital makes a good point in Twitch chat. Everyone needs PR managers. None of this was good for anyone
Yeah,
involved.
Yeah.
So, Richard Lewis actually covered this. Like, he reacted to Stewie reacting to Evie on a Twitch stream, and it was really good to watch. So if you haven't got a chance to watch it,
Actually, I will
make sure you check it out. It's
actually.
really good. So,
Is it on his YouTube, or is it just
I'm
on
not
his?
sure. I'm sure it'll
pod?
come out on his YouTube, but it was on his Twitch stream a couple days ago. So
Speaking
was
of
good to watch.
Speaking of Stewie, though, what's his next step? Is he gonna
He,
like?
s- he said
Arm
during,
hug.
he said, like, during the interview, well, not the interview, but the stream, that I can't remember which tournament. What was the last tournament he went to
It
online?
was the major, wasn't it?
Major.
It was
Yeah.
like that
Major?
RMR event.
Yeah,
wasn't
RMR.
it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like he was saying, like, you know, guys, I've not been performing well. If you guys want and you want to feel like it, I'm more than happy for me to be to be benched, and you to look for, you know, other solutions or whatever. Like, he even said it on stream, actually. He wasn't, after this project, he doesn't think he's fit enough to be a captain, which is a bit worrying, if I'm honest, you know, for confidence and self motivation. I guess it's, well,
Yeah, I watched a little bit of his stream. Smirky. He said he failed the project. He admitted to
Yeah.
taking a lot of the fault. He's not an IGL. He says he's
Yeah.
not a captain. So moving forward, so EG got rid of their coaching staff. Meaning, does that mean they stick with Stewie? Because it was either Stewie or the coaching staff. I think it was. And
I think they'll stick.
Yep.
I think they'll stick with Stewie, but I
Yeah.
don't think they probably should stick with Stewie. Like,
Yeah.
especially with their
Yeah, I think
15-man
they're
roster.
making-
I think they definitely need EU somewhere in there, whether it be coaching staff or
You think he has
experienced
one foot out the
players.
door?
I think so.
He's going to Valorant.
Oh,
I
I
could
would hit. I would
could
hit
see
if
it.
I'm honest, but
I think it
But,
doesn't
yeah,
make sense to like keep Stewie, but it makes even less sense to kick the whole coaching staff and then not keep Stewie.
yeah, like if I'm Stewie, like, okay, I'm out of EG, whether it be my wanting or their wanting, but like, where do I go
Yep.
now? Like, I'm not like a Twist where he instantly got the phase offer because he was so
Yeah.
good. Like, he already went on Liquid.
He had
And
G2
did his time
offers.
there.
Did you know that before?
No,
He
I
went to
didn't know
EG. I can't remember where I saw it, but G2 offered
That's
him a
wild to
spot.
me.
Right? But
Did
like,
did anybody
now
else
it's
hear that?
like,
I did not.
No.
I don't
I
know.
did.
I didn't hear that at all.
Yeah, I don't know where I read it, but yeah, now like KayJay, you're saying like where does he go?
Like, where do you?
Liquid
Yeah.
he can't go back to. Complexity, I don't.
I don't see them meshing with him at all.
And there's no really
I-
other NA teams. EU.
Well, he can make like a Japs project. That's that is not a
Maybe.
good. That's not a good route though
Yeah.
for him.
Or
Like,
last
if he goes
option is
EU,
Valorant. So
yeah.
I think Stewie has really screwed himself. Not here, but just sort of career-wise. I don't think he ever should have taken up the mantle of like in-game leading. To be honest,
No.
Think
like I think he'll look back and
He-
kind of regret being.
I think he should have been humbled when he was on Liquid. Not. He should
Yeah,
have stepped out. Yeah. Sometimes you don't know how good a situation you're in when you're in that situation, and then when you leave, everything turns to shit.
I guess it was difficult for him as well because there wasn't even a system in place when he joined EG. At least, on Liquid there was something. He had
true.
all these like amazing players, Liege, Naf, but it's
Yeah.
completely from the ground up. Cirque and Breezy as personally, I don't think they've been good since 2019.
Once the Krieg's gone, Breezy was pretty much gone.
I think
No.
so
I think Stewie's like the antithesis of like what NA doesn't need right now. Like just like a whiny kind of like
yeah.
not willing to put in the effort player.
So this is a good transition into roster changes. So since we're talking about EG, and talking about Stewie, you guys are thinking that EG are gonna get rid of Stewie?
I think
mean,
if they're making like 2 to 3 roster changes,
Dude,
honestly.
They still need
I
a new
request-
coach too. Valens was recently announced the GM or something.
Director.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Is the question what they should do or what they will likely do? Because I think there's two different
Those are
answers.
two very
Give
different
me
answers.
both. What are they gonna do? And what should they do?
I don't know what they're going to do. I think they should get rid of Stewie, but I also think they could get rid of like Cirque or Breezy. So there's
I think
literally, I think you get rid of, at the very least, you get rid of 2 of those 3, but you can't get rid of all 3 in my opinion.
I think Cirque should go, if I'm honest. His
Yeah.
stats and like when I watch the M, it's just not been great, especially for someone who has the highest costing gun in the game, well,
So
meta gun.
Since they have a 15-man roster now, they're gonna switch players from those rosters, right? They're not gonna bring in like other players, right? Or no?
I think they should.
I think they will
They
bring the
should.
players in.
They'll bring in other
yeah.
okay outside
Yeah.
of their academy teams.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like they're trying something a bit different though, just sort of not necessarily for the sake of it, but I feel like they're like not what they should do, but their game plan will be to probably like try and rotate players, get them scrimming and practicing together to maybe see what sticks. And I don't know, it's an experiment, right? And there's definitely a chance that it goes south. So I think we're all sort of in agreement that at the very least, like your short-term fix is to pick up some players that already have tenure, but you never know in the long term it might work out, but I'm not that hopeful.
I actually disagree with you. I think they kind of like screwed the pooch with going with these old heads. And I
Mhm.
think like if they get rid of Breezy and they call up like Hexed or like a player like Hexed where it's like the star young fragger where you very moldable. I think like EG's shown that they're obviously not getting a lot out of these like quote unquote proven long term players, and they kind of need to change something. I think if you have 2 academy teams, there's no reason not to call players up.
Well, that's a good point, and we have to see how well they do.
Yeah.
Since their EG's giving them opportunities to go to EU. Like if they show potential, then then you make that potential move to bring up to the main roster, right? But
yeah.
So, all right, that's enough with EG. We had the breaking news earlier with Team Liquid removing Shocks, which we all knew about, but they're also removed their head coach Adren, which is huge.
I didn't expect
back to
one
Mythic.
next.
What's going on with Liquid? Who's coming in? There's Richard Lewis said there's a report. He got like birdies in his ear telling people telling him that
Dickhead.
Yakinder's coming to Liquid.
I've heard
Yeah.
that as well, yeah.
Yeah, so
Well, Shox was playing like luck rolls and anchor positions, wasn't he, on Liquid? Like
Yeah.
overpass, he was lurking towards B on on the T side, and on Inferno he was playing Pit, I think.
yeah, he was
if,
very uncomfortable in that lineup. Plus his aim was really off when I'm watching his Team Liquid demos.
There was like
think
no
if-
confidence in him.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
if they do bring in someone like Yekender, they have to make room for him. They can't just do the, I guess the Liquid.
I think they can though.
I think they can.
They have plenty of room.
They have Neff. They have
Yeah.
Neff as like the support type player.
Right, yeah.
Nitro.
Like Elise can be
VSL
aggressive at
supported.
times, but Yakinder's he's really aggressive, which all these other players are pretty passive, but they definitely can make room for Yakinder in their play style.
I think it'd be a good fit.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
What's-
And Yakinder's getting a lot of money probably from this.
Yeah. What scares me is like the initial Shocks pickup and like their thoughts behind it, because
Mhm.
like for looking at this team, like they don't need any veteran player to make them
True.
good. They
True.
need young and stuff, but like picking up Shocks just looked at from
Didn't look
the
right.
outside in, it looked like,
Uh-huh.
oh, we're a bunch of NA players that we need like EU experience, which is like very questionable because this roster, besides OC, is very accomplished and very talented and knowledgeable. So I think they should go young, but I wouldn't be that surprised if they somehow go older route.
You have to get the right older player though.
Yeah, I don't
Like,
think
well,
Shocks
would
was
you
it.
put your Kinder in like? I know he's not like
Mhm.
old, but would you
I'd put him in-
say
I'd put
he's
him young.
older? So he's still young. Okay, yeah.
like talent wise, right?
Yeah.
Like Shocks has been there and done that. He knows everything, whereas
Yeah.
Kinder is a sponge.
I don't know. I think Shocks was definitely just a classic example of maybe letting the players have a bit too much power in when it comes to decision making, and they just don't quite.
Yeah.
It's someone that they respect and who has indeed had
Yeah.
a high ceiling in the past, but is not necessarily the right. Didn't think about, okay, we've got him now. Now what do we do with him? So yeah, I never really think a lot of people like pundits wise and stuff looking inward when Shocks joined were like, why? So
Yeah.
Let's get Sickly's opinion on Liquid and Yakinder. What are your thoughts?
If I was Yakinder, I wouldn't pick Liquid. Like
Really?
you,
Yeah.
to be honest, as far as I know, having different conversation with players from EU, they always say if you go to an A, you go for the money,
Yeah.
not for the
Very
competition.
true.
So if you went there, I think
Uh-huh.
you went for the money. If I'm not mistaken, as far as I know, did VP announce that they're releasing him from the contracts a few days ago?
yes, I think
Yeah,
he
they
tweeted
did.
out and
Yeah.
said that he's
So,
free to
If
look.
they did that, then his best option would be Navi. As
Uh-huh.
far as I know, Navi had interest in him before, but they weren't willing to pay the money
Yep.
for VP.
Is
So now, if Yakender is free and they have a free position and they chip him in with other players, that would be godlike.
his
True.
buyout was insane, wasn't it? It was like
Yeah,
$1 million.
it was $1 million somewhere.
Yeah.
I read.
They are
Wasn't
very
that wasn't that like Devices buyout as well for
Yeah.
Astralis? Or am I?
Yeah, that was. But,
There was.
Uh-huh.
Did you guys see this Apex interview that they did a few days ago? I don't
Yeah,
know.
he said he wouldn't want to
So
play
they
with
said as well.
Yakinder, right?
Yeah, they said as well. So he had the 1 million buyout, so they couldn't get him or something. Like
Yeah, that's where it was. And then Apex said he wouldn't want to play with a player like Yakinder on his team. But he didn't go into why though, I don't think. Yeah.
Speaking with about the Navi Kinder stuff, you think they're actually gonna keep Some Da Young SDY?
To be honest, no. I think they've expressed their interest before, so if he's free, it's all up for Navi's. You know.
Yeah.
It's a no-brainer. If I was Navi, I would pick him up, and he wants to play with them, so
yeah,
that'll be good.
Yeah, it'd be like a dream come true for SDY,
But
wouldn't
if
it?
it doesn't come up for those, and I think with the current state of Vitality, I think that's another option he might get as well.
How about G2?
No, but G2,
no,
I think G2
G2
needs
said
time.
they're
really
staying
good.
they're staying
They're
together.
staying?
Yeah, they're staying together with Nico's
Yeah,
tweeting.
I haven't heard
yeah.
anything. So.
Yeah.
How about Dexter?
I think Dexter, the right move for Dexter would be to go to Ents. I think he's an upgrade towards Hades. So, and the one thing I've seen on the Dallas, I saw it on Twitch actually. He was getting frustrated. He was telling his coach, Dot, I don't know how is it called.
Yeah.
So he was telling Saul to he would point out to his microphone and tell him point out to him, tell him to speak, and then he would go up and cheer him up. I think he has communication issues.
Okay.
He has communication issues when it gets tense. So I think maybe Dexter would fix it up. And he's more aggressive. He takes more charge. So
Yeah.
probably I think that's the right move for Ents to do. And I think they will do it. It's all up to see.
Yeah, I was looking at the possible places Dexter can land up in, and there's not many options. I mean, if OG really wanted to, they could.
I feel like OG should, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think they should, but I don't think they will.
Mhm.
But I also,
I don't think they will.
with the Ents thing, I could also see like Dexter to OG and Mant to Ents. I think that because I feel like Dexter is very loose compared to like Snappy's calling. It doesn't make a huge difference. Like he's still a very good player, but just interesting dynamic.
But that's the thing. The Ents I think would improve because, as you say, they're very structured. They need a guy who needs to go out of the system for them as a team to the next level. So I think that's gonna be their thought process, maybe from the coach or somebody else. I think they need to do the change, bring in Dexter, so they could be a bit more versatile in the game, so they could have that extra, how can I say, option on the playbook.
Yeah,
that's fair.
The only other team that I could think of that Dexter could go to, which is probably not going to happen, is what about Mouse in place of Torsey?
I don't see it.
I don't know, bro. I don't think Maz's problems is with the AWP, to be honest. So it'd just be like a bit of a, maybe a bandage when you need like something. I don't know where I'm going with but you know what I mean. Like just sorting the wrong problem.
Yeah.
With Dexter, didn't he say like he wanted to stay in Russia? And I can't remember what.
Did he say? I thought he just didn't want to move to Serbia or was it Serbia?
Team Spirit wanted the team to live in Serbia for 9 months, and he didn't want to relocate because he has a girlfriend or wife or something like that, and it was too soon to make a decision, I think.
Yeah.
When was that said? Like after
last week, I think.
It
was when he was benched.
People were calling him out saying, "Oh, it's political," and then he came out with something on Twitter.
Yeah, I mean, I doubt his decision would be, but it's gonna limit you pretty heavily, I think, if he sticks to his guns on that. Unfortunately,
I think it's the same as Nart said. It's not about him living in Russia all the time. It's about him not moving to Serbia, like living there 9 months. Because I think that was their, how can I say? That's what Spirit said. They wanted him to live 9 months in Serbia. So I think that was his, no go. But I don't think it'd be a problem for him to move out. For example, travel out of Russia. Because if you go in a top 10 team, you're gonna move out. You're gonna travel for around 6 months at least. With all the tournaments happening all the time, so
good point.
I think it's only that.
I have to go back and talk about. We forgot to talk about Adren, and like him getting removed, and who's gonna come in. What's Adren up to now? Like, what do you guys think?
Adren,
I'd say there's two options for Liquid for coach wise. I think it's either Malik and his crew, or move Lucid up to the coach role. And I think
I don't think Malik will ever.
Yeah, I think we scared him off with EG.
I don't think either are gonna happen. That's the only two I can actually
No,
think
yeah,
of.
What
I
about
agree.
Zeus?
Yo,
Is Zeus coming back?
How about the third option, Nart out
I
here?
think Depths
Nah.
will go in as a coach.
I could see Depths, yeah.
That's
Yo,
yeah.
Tuesday.
The redemption
that's-
arc of
Yeah, I think
Depths
Zeus
and Liquid.
is probably chilling for a while.
No,
Yeah,
the thing with
but-
Zeus is in the Elige podcast, or
Uh-huh.
I think it was the Elige podcast with SDK or DDK. Sorry, he said that he was like he'd done everything he could with Liquid. That's what he felt like.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
He
Yeah,
said
he's
something
been with
else
him.
as well. I think he tweeted after
His
the
heart
Malik
attack?
thing happened as well.
Oh.
So he said as well, that's literally what happened to me. The same thing happened to me as Malik. So I'm done coaching because of that.
Yeah.
It should be out there.
Ah, okay.
And then there's one more roster move, the big one that happened yesterday. Was with Heroic.
Yes.
Oh,
yeah,
refresh. Yes,
yeah.
yeah.
Refresh. That was the last one.
They might try. I think they're gonna grab something from Copenhagen Flames.
I
If you
think
want.
I think it's
Jabby.
100%
Yeah,
Yabby.
It's Yabby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's Yabby. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
that's-
pretty sure like he's the better player out of him and Zyphon.
Dude, you
from
know
right.
what's funny? I'll tell
Uh-huh.
you something. You know, after the last major that it was on Sweden, the last one was on Sweden, right? Not this one.
Mhm.
Yeah,
No,
yeah. The Stockholm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Stockholm. Yeah,
Yeah, the Stockholm one. It was funny when they came back. We beat Copenhagen with my team. We beat them 3 times online.
Uh-huh.
You know, every time we would just bully Jabby. You know, everywhere he was, like
Oh,
every
really?
strat we have, we just go at Jabby. You know, it's funny to me now. He gets invited to it.
Yeah, they really struggled online like after the
They
major,
really, really did.
They did. Everyone thought they were gonna go to complexity.
and then
I'm
like,
ooh, maybe not. After
Then-
you guys pretty much bullied them.
and then you know when they come back for the major, they just kind of they made it to legends, didn't they?
Mhm.
Like
Mhm.
Copenhagen
Last-
Flames.
Yeah, they're good on land compared to online.
And then they went 2-0, and they almost balls it up again, but they managed to get through.
But what are your thoughts on Yabby replacing Refresh? Is that gonna help Heroic out?
Probably. I think so.
I think it would.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Refresh never really looked comfortable, did he? To be honest, like it's a bit sad. The old Fragsters lineup back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
He was pretty sick, but I think maybe waited a bit too. I don't know, what causes it or whatever, but it was definitely a bit too long, perhaps, that he was like not on a top level team, if
Yeah.
I'm remembering
Yeah, he
correctly,
did take,
before
like,
moving into
a
Heroic.
long break after
Yeah.
that Cloud9 stint, right? That stand-in.
Hmm.
I-
Yeah.
I think this is the step forward for Heroic, kind of trying to push it to actually win stuff.
Yeah, I think it was inevitable.
play. Yeah.
I think Yabby is a good player, and I think he's better than Refresh, and they have similar roles. And aggression wise, I know Yabby's he can be an aggressive player. I remember on watching a lot of Copenhagen Flames Ancient, and he would be a problem for teams out T side mid. Like
He's like the hunter or
Wasn't he-
config type player.
yeah. Mhm.
Wasn't he
He's-
also supposed to be like the star player as well, but kind of Roy, took the start, the spotlight.
I know Roy was hard entry, right?
Him and
Yeah,
Nico.
that's actually the thing with Job, because does any one of you have seen the Copenhagen documentaries that they've done?
No.
No.
but,
Not.
No.
Tell us.
Oh, that's the thing, I've seen their documentaries, and the Job is really good player, but he has like confidence issues,
Mhm.
and that's something that Huxi was, in those documentaries was. I actually praise him a lot. Like I think Huxi was one of the key factors of why Copenhagen was really good. And the thing is that what's the other guys? Ziphon and Javi, they're always having confidence issues, and the other guys were always cheering them up and hyping them up.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
if
if
he managed to cross out that barrier, I think Javi will be safe.
And you got like Katie, and who's pretty much
Yeah, I was
Oh,
gonna say.
yeah,
God.
Kaden was gonna hype
That
him up
one
so
was real
much.
good.
He'll throw a chair at him,
All right, so
I think that's all. I think that's everything for this episode.
any what do you have to say? We'll go with through each guest here. Stikle, do you have anything to say for your fans or the viewers?
Not exactly, but thank you everybody for following us up here. Keep continuing us up. We'll have news soon for our team. We're gonna have 2 tournaments coming up right now. I can mention just one. The other one isn't public yet. So we're in the quarterfinals of Republic, and we're in another tournament in the quarterfinals again. And there'll be on the 28th, and then the other one I think it will start on the 30th, if I'm not mistaken, of July.
Oh, don't worry.
June.
Well,
Have
don't worry.
Have
Yeah, I
you
was gonna
guys
say, don't worry.
gotten you guys gotten more invites to tournaments now, or no? not
Yeah, we
yet?
got. We've got many of them.
Okay, that's good.
But the thing is, mostly they've been on the player break, so it's not that nice.
Yeah, it's kind of shit.
Ouch.
Yeah.
It kind of sucks. I want to take a proper break because I
Yeah.
have a plan with the team that I want to execute after we come after the player break. Because I need to change a lot of stuff on my team, to go forward. So I have to do that, and I have to skip a bit of tournaments now.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate your time today. Thank you for coming on.
It was a pleasure as well.
Skriv?
I was gonna-
Yeah, man. I just wanted to
What's up,
say thanks for having me on. It's always nice to jump on these kind of podcasts and hear what other people have got to say. Stuff that I can borrow for when I'm on broadcast and whatnot, right? And pass it off as my own idea. But no, yeah, it's a lot of fun. Thanks for asking me.
I'd love to join your interviews one day on your YouTube.
Yeah, man.
So
Yeah, I've been
we'll stay in
they're sort
contact
of
there.
Indeed. They're a little sort of sporadic. I've tried like recently to try and angle towards the getting players and stuff on, I think, but that can be a bit difficult, really, because like they get busy or they just don't have the time, or they just don't necessarily get back to me. So I think I'm gonna have to take a bit of a step back and like re-angle and go with some more like industry people and content creators maybe, and also try and find a series, maybe podcast of my own or something that is a bit easier to pump out.
Thank you. Now back to Sickly real quick. Do pro teams, is it the best time? Like, do they practice on Sundays? Is that your off? Do you guys have off days? I'm just wondering in case if I need to, invite players onto the show on the podcast in the future.
Tier 1 teams usually do. Yeah, they have on Saturdays and Sundays. They have vacation days.
Okay, that's good to know.
It's only the Tier 2 teams that maybe practice. It depends on the schedule that they have.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool. KayJay, any last words?
Thank you for coming on. Nothing really. Teams playing advanced, so keep an eye out for that. But besides that, been just chilling.
All right. Well, good luck to your good luck to you on Tuesday or Wednesday on your match. I'll be watching. Makzwell?
Yeah, I just want to say thanks for having me on, and thanks everyone else making it so enjoyable. Not
come
a
on.
hassle. I'm for the people.
Okay. All right, thank you. Thank you to both. Good luck to X13. Smirky?
Thank you.
Can I get some food? I've been stuck in this moment for like 2 days.
Oh my lord.
And then lastly, my co-host Saga. Thank you for putting the show together.
No problem. And I have a little guest from the dog. He just on my lap the whole time.
All right. Yeah. Well, that's it. Appreciate everyone for watching. And till next time, not out here. Peace.
See you guys.